Well, welcome to today's rant, coming to you from Perdido Beach, Alabama. And been down here for a while, been having an awesome time, been getting a prophetic download. Haven't spent much time keeping up with the news and all, but as I checked in a little while ago, I can see that the rage over Russia is still going on. Must be a slow news day. They just don't have anything else to talk about. And guess what? Many of you asked me occasionally to show you my dogs, Harley and Lucy. There's Lucy. Here's our pier boathouse. Here's Harley. They're waiting for me to throw this ball. There it goes. And there they go after it. Just see what I do down there. Harley's in the water. Lucy's a little smarter. She stayed on the dock where the ball landed. Let me throw it out into the water so that they will be gone a little longer. Swimming, both of them. Okay. There it goes. You get to see them. I do this over and over. One time I did it 130 times straight, and they were still bringing the ball back, wagging their tails, wanting me to do it again. I can't believe that kind of endurance. My arm wouldn't take it anymore. But anyway, back to the rage in Russia, rage over Russia. What's that all about? Two major factors where Russia, and especially a combination of Russia, of Putin and Trump, are one of the most threatening things in the world to the left, to the leftist agenda, to many other agendas. It could not be more threatening than for those two to start getting along together and working together. Why is that? Now, Putin is probably the biggest or most powerful world leader who has stood up vehemently, without compromise, to the LGBT agenda and said, you will not bring that in our country. That will not come here. It is not allowed. He doesn't persecute the gays there, even though they claim that. They claim if they don't get their way on everything, they're being persecuted and discriminated against, but that's not true. He just says, you're not going to have special rights, special things, and you're not going to impose your way of life on everybody else and make everybody else conform to what you want to do. If you want to come here, you're going to have to accept our morality and all too. And that's just a fact, okay? Now, Trump hasn't done that. He's pretty much pro-gay agenda, LGBT. That's one place where there's a potential rift between him and the conservatives and the evangelicals. But, you know, he's from New York. He grew up in New York. You go there, you know, Trump is, it's amazing. He has become so conservative in so many areas just from his background, where he's from. But most Christians, evangelicals, they don't want a persecution of the gays. They don't want them to lose their national or citizens' rights and all. They just don't want their lifestyle imposed on everybody else. And, of course, we're very much against the corruption and the way immorality, as we see it, is being sown into textbooks and all, even given to our youngest children. That is really a foul. And but that being said, you know, that's one reason I think for the rage on the left and on the media, in the media, that's mostly controlled by the left and controlled to a high degree by the LGBT agenda, why they hate Putin so much. The other reason is he's one of the biggest anti-globalists in the world. he will not allow George Soros into his country. He said, you will not come here. You won't bring your stuff here. And Putin, a lot of people think, they say things, they say the most extreme, bizarre things, an accusation about him. He's trying to rebuild the old Soviet Union. He's just an old KGB agent. Well, we've had a lot of our officials who were in our CIA, and they're not. Our President Bush Sr. was head of the CIA for a while, and he wasn't known forever as the CIA, secret agent or something like that. And I think Putin, even though he is former KGB, and we need to understand how that had an influence on who he is, no doubt. He has departed far from the old Soviet model and from communist and Marxist philosophy. I mean, he even made a statement in that recent press conference he did with Trump about how business people tend to have the greatest understanding on certain, applications of leadership and all. I'm paraphrasing, but he let it be known how much he respected the leadership that business people have, and in getting things done. And he has done a lot for Russia. I mean, Russia, we look at it now as something, a strong man, even. We call it a dictatorship. It's not. They have a democracy. It's far different from ours, and they want it to be different because they look at ours as being dysfunctional. Russians believe there's going to be strong, decisive leadership at the top, and here, we have something that they look at as not working anymore. Our form of democracy, our form of being a republic. That's, unfortunately, they got a lot of reasons for believing that. And but I don't think it's our system of government as much as it is the people that we've had running our government. But anyway, Putin is very much anti-globalist. He is a Russian patriot, not a Soviet patriot. He looks at Mother Russia as being something. He has a mandate to be a defender of the faith. He considers himself a defender of the Christian faith in Russia. Now, to him, that means Russian Orthodox Church, but that's the way he sees himself. And he has very clear beliefs about Christian morality and things like that he's upholding pretty much. But when he took over, after the meltdown of the Soviet Union, it was one of the greatest opportunities for America to help Russia to get off to a really strong democratic form of government. And but we missed that opportunity. We were in many ways very offensive the way we went about it. Like, we know how to do this, we know everything, you need to listen to us, and you need to do it our way. And it was really done in a very foolish and I think offensive way to many Russians. And then we highly publicized so many of the Russians saying they even wanted to go back to communism. Well, that just shows how little understanding our media have of such things. Communism is prison. That's why they have walls to imprison the people. We have walls to keep people out because so many people want to get in. They had to have a wall to keep people in. It was a prison. Well, one of the things, if somebody's been in prison for more than a few years, their decision maker gets broken. They don't know how to make basic decisions. I've had friends that got out of prison. Yes, I've had many friends in prison. Some of them Jim Baker, when he got out of prison, he couldn't make a choice on a menu. He would just hand the menu to me and say, would you please choose some? I can't do this. He could not make basic choices because his decision maker had been broken. They were told when to do everything, when to go to the bathroom, when to eat, when to go to sleep, every single thing, until pretty soon they could not make decisions for themselves. Everybody knows how decisive a person Jim Baker was before he went to prison. He was just totally opposite. Well, all of Russia was in prison. Their decision maker had been broken. They didn't know how to make decisions for themselves. The whole democratic thing, for them to run their government, that was so scary to them. And many of them, like prisoners who commit crimes to go back to prison, many of them wanted to go back under communism, which is a prison. And, excuse me while I hurl this ball for them. And, but anyway, that's to say, so those who were decisive in Russia tended to be the criminals. The mafia, the Russian mafia. It rose up to become the most powerful mafia probably in the history of the world for a period of time. The corruption was unbelievable. They took over many of the state industries and everything, privatized everything. Well, they ended up in the hands of criminals, of the mafia, Russian mafia. Well, guess what? Everybody looks at Putin as being the head of the Russian mafia. He came in and just about wiped out the Russian mafia. He did away with so much of the corruption there. There's still a lot. There is still a lot, no doubt. And he used some of them the way America did. You know, America used pirates in the Revolutionary War. We used pirates in the War of 1812. John Lafitte helped, Andrew Jackson win the Battle of New Orleans. A pirate. There are people, and leaders do that sometimes. Guess what? Our leaders do things like that sometimes. We have to work with governments. We have to work with people that are people we would throw in jail if they were in our country. We work with them in other countries. And that's another thing. Putin has cleaned up his country to a large degree. His economy is a fraction of what our economy is, the Russian economy. It's about as big as New York State. But you know what? It's powerful. It's getting stronger all the time. You know what he's been doing? He's been paying off his national debt. He's been building reserves. In some ways, his economy, as small as it is, may be stronger than ours already. Some things that we're not even dealing with now, doesn't even get mentioned, are incredible deficits and debt that is sooner or later going to do us in if somebody doesn't deal with it. Well, he's doing a lot of really good things. He's trying to develop a sound free market system, but he's not doing it perfectly. But look, everybody's going crazy about how, okay, he kills the journalists who criticize him, whatever. Maybe that's him, maybe it isn't. But you don't think that happens in China? Why is it we didn't have that kind of outrage against Trump meeting with Xi? When in that situation, it's far worse than in Russia. Far worse. Matter of fact, we could not have dealings with about 80% of the world leaders if we did not deal with people who were like that and doing those types of things. Why the outrage at Russia? I tell you, there is a destiny, an important destiny, for the U.S. and Russia to be friends. That we can help them and they can help us. There needs to be a mutual respect and treating each other with respect and dignity. Putin has, I have no doubt you don't become a strong man or leader of such a country with such power without doing some stuff. Nobody does in this world. So I'm not disputing all those things. I'm just saying, look, this is the world we live in. Why is it that we deal with all other kinds of people that are far worse than Putin, if he is doing those things, and we say nothing, but when it comes to Putin, we just go nuts? I'm just saying. I think we need a little discernment. I've got a whole lot more to say about this and evidence here. But also, what else was accomplished? A friend of mine brought this up in an email to me this morning. A friend who I think has his pulse on world affairs as much as anybody I know. He said one fruit, he thought, of their private talks, Putin and Trump, where this latest tweet clash between Trump and the Iranian leaders, normally Russia would have weighed in on the side of Iran very forcefully in something like that. There's been total silence from Putin and from Russia. You know, I think Trump is doing something so extraordinary, the way he got Xi to help out with North Korea. I think he's doing something to get to get Putin to help out with the other biggest crisis we're facing right now, and that is with Iran, that could bring about a change and I think an ultimate stability in the world for a decade or more. And I think Trump is very systematically going after this. I'm just saying. That's my rant for today. Thank you for joining me. Please send your comments and please pass this on and share it with those that you think are interested in these things. Thank you.